if you are here, I will encourage you to actually join the live. It's always better than watching the recorded session. We all know you always sleep when watching it. You sleep. So it's always good if you partake. So let's start with question. The conqueror, do you have any question?
I don't have any for now, sir.
Okay, what about you, Dauda?
I'm good. I'm good, sir. How are you doing, sir?
Oh, very fine, thank you. Um, Destiny,
Yes, sir. Good
any
evening, sir.
question?
Yes,
Evening.
sir. I'm having a couple of questions, sir.
Okay. So couple means two. So
Ah,
answer them. Maybe on the couple.
no, now like the couple is like 10, sir.
How will a couple be 10?
Yes, I'm
that,
having,
that must be a polygamous couple. Okay. Okay. Let's proceed with your question. The first one.
okay, sir. It's pertaining the videos, the tutorials for the daily tutorials that we've been watching. So
Okay.
then I've been going through with them, and then I've been documenting the question. So the first question is, you use the rectangle for your background, which also served as an overlay. So
Okay.
my question is, why not just use the frame instead? What is the ideal essence of using a rectangle in the frame?
Okay. Good. The next question. I'll
The
answer them
second one
together.
is okay. The second one is, we imported icons from the Tailwind community, right? So
Okay.
what's the concept of a community? Can we
Mhm.
also get other stuffs aside icons from the community? That's the second question.
Okay. This one is very easy. The answer is
Okay,
yes.
okay. Then the third one is, in the buttons lectures, you said, and I quote, you don't use two icons from different collections. So where
Mhm.
can we get different collection of icon with uniformity?
I said don't use two icons from different collection. That means
Yes.
just one collection. So if you know your icon pack is going to be from the Tailwind design system, stick with that. If you know it's going to be from Bootstrap icon, stick with that. If you know it's going to be from Icon Noir, there are a lot of places you could get icon from, but make sure you stick with one so that the style will look the same. Okay, if you use icons from different parts, you find out that the thickness might not look the same.
Okay.
Yeah, so stick with one.
Okay. All right. So my next question is, in
Mhm.
the button you created, you gave the button text an auto layout of 8 pixels.
Yeah.
Why, please? Because
Okay, so I'll answer this one later. The next question. I don't know if it's from your end or from
the
my
type
end,
the
but
parent phone.
I can't I can't hear you. Come again. From the
Okay.
last
I said,
I said for the button, I'll answer the button with a practical. So the next question.
yeah, no, this one is okay. Okay, this particular one you answer it because it's two button question and this is the second one.
Yeah, I understand. Yes.
Okay.
So the next
So
question.
then the next question is, how do you know what color shade that is more appropriate to use? Are we to pick these colors consciously, or there are principles that guides the selection of color? That is my fifth question.
Yes. Okay, so I'll answer
Okay.
that one as well.
Okay. Then the sixth question. In the two, the title of the first lesson is atoms. So
Yes.
can you please explain what atoms are and then molecules? Because I don't actually understand the concept in
Okay.
design.
Okay. The next question.
Then the next question, can you throw more light about how to get the optimal space between a button and a form field?
The issue with this particular question now is that I don't even have light right here. I'm using inverter. If I use my inverter light to throw more light on this, don't worry, I'll answer it.
All right, sir.
Okay.
So that is for number seven. Then the eighth question is, for the button shadow, you use 8 for the y-axis, and then you
Okay.
use 16 for the blur. That is a
Okay.
multiplication of 8 by 2. Then you use 25% opacity. Is it a general rule of thumb or for shadows, or does it have its own ground rules like a principle, or is just a rule of thumb you just use?
It's more like a rule of thumb, but at the end of the day, it depends on your eyes. So as a designer, you have to train your eyes because shadows might not always work with a particular rule. But then there are some specific principles I will just put you through when I'm answering these questions. Okay.
All right. Then and then the ninth question. So this question is pertaining the MasterCard logo used in the spending app dashboard.
Okay.
I was told that dimension of an element should be an even number, like your x and your height and width. So that
Mm,
was what I was told. So that is the width and the height of the element, right? So, but in
mm,
cases where plugins elements have dimension with decimal points, is it
mm.
right to change them to an even number or take them to the nearest whole number? Or scaling them is the best option to elements that have decimal points?
So when it comes to sizing, it all depends on the real estate you have on your frame. I'll also answer that. So,
Okay.
any other one?
Then then the last one now, the 10th question. During the lesson where you created the mockup for our splash screen in an iPhone, you used the scale to reduce the size where you
Mm,
imputed the height of the mockup to our splash screen, which of course adjusted properly in both horizontal and vertical positions. So I tried imputing the height into the height property, not the scale property now.
mm.
Because that scale property, you say we should press K before it will appear, the property appear. But there is this property where you still see height and width without the
Yes.
scaling, without pressing the K. So I
Mm,
tried imputing the height into the height property, not the scale property, and then the design got cluttered. And can you
mm.
please throw more? I don't want to say light now. I don't know which word to use now.
It's because the only element that resized was the element you selected, not the entire design. So that's why we use scale for it, so that it can scale everything.
Okay, that means scale of affects both the width and height.
It affects everything. Scale is like resizing. But when you use, for instance, if you use width and height, you find out that your fonts won't be affected.
Okay.
Yes. So I will still explain further. Okay.
Okay.
That's all right. So
Yeah,
this
that's it. Okay.
this from Destiny. You are definitely going to be a star.
Thank you.
Because from your first name we have Destiny Otiko, and from the last name we have Rema himself.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Okay, Japheth, your hand is
Okay.
up.
Yes, sir. Good evening, sir.
Evening, Japheth.
Okay, so hi Destiny. So now you could see like 12 minutes have gone for
Yeah.
asking questions. That's why we said that post your questions on the group chat so that the
Mm,
facilitator can just take the question, and once it comes, that's what he's going to focus on by answering them. By the time he's done answering this question now, it's going to take maybe another 12 minutes, which has eaten into our time. So please, next time
One.
when you have questions, just send them as text
Mm,
to the group chat so that um, people will actually see the question, and that might even intrigue them to want to join the class. Please let this be noted.
yeah, that's a good one. Okay.
Mm.
Second, Sikam. Sikam, do you have any question? Only you two device. Yusuf, Yusuf Ozil, are you a footballer? Do you have any question?
Wrong number, no number.
Okay.
No, sir.
Oh,
Good evening, sir. We don't have
yeah.
any question now. I
Okay.
will
Okay.
maybe later.
Okay, great. So these are the questions we have. And once we get to Figma, I will proceed to answer this question because they are practical questions, not theoretical questions. So once we get to Figma now, we'll go ahead and answer them. Okay, so let's go into what we have for today. We are still in the business of product design. And we took a look at what product design is, the roles there and some certain things you need to understand in terms of product design. And today we're going to proceed. Today we're going to be looking at platforms and principles of UI UX design. Okay, so the way we structure our learning, we understand that I think nobody here, all of us here went to Otakara, and I don't think there's anybody here that cannot recite ABCD. And it's not because we were very smart when we were kids. It was simply because we repeated it a lot of time. A lot of time we repeated that ABC from morning to night. Now capital A, small a. Even if you reach house, when your uncles visit, the only thing they'll come and tell you again is say A until you get tired. So that's why the way we structure this our training as well, we try to repeat things as much as possible, right? But not making it redundant, of course. But we try to repeat things so that if you don't enter the first time, you can enter the second time. If you don't enter the second time, you can enter the third time. If by the third time you no enter, you can visit Gigi and see the rate at which your laptop is going, so that you can switch. So today we are going to take a look at platforms and principles of UI UX design. Okay, so it's very important you should understand this. So platforms basically refer to different environments or mediums where user interfaces and user experiences are created and optimized. Each platform has unique characteristics and requirements that influences the design decision or approach. And we have four main types, okay? By main, I mean like main types. We have other types, okay? So platform basically they are like environments that you design for. And it's always important to understand the environment you're designing for, because a lot of them comes with some rules and regulations. One of the major platforms you are likely to be working on will be web. So with web, we are talking about websites and web app. Okay, web, we are looking at what? Websites and web app. So webs are basically website and web apps are basically programs that runs on computer browsers. I know we all know what a browser is. Example, Mozilla Firefox, Google Chrome, and the rest of them. So when you are designing an app that is going to run on a browser, it's a web app, right? So we have web app and we have websites. So this is one platform that you need to know of. The next one is mobile. So when you are working on mobile, you need to understand that on mobile, we have two main platforms for mobile. We have the iOS platform and we have the Android platform. Very important for you to understand. The iOS platform and the Android platforms. So designing for this platform, we need you to understand we need you to have some basic understanding of, the iOS and Android environments. Then we have desktop applications. On desktop, we have three, but there are mainly two, which is what? We have Windows, we have Mac, and we have Linux. But well, people design for Linux, right? People design for Linux. But the most popular ones you're going to see is Windows and Mac. Now we have voice user interfaces. These are interfaces where you design screens that users can basically control using their voice. You see this a lot in IoTs, you see them in smart homes, you see them in different environments, right? But anything that has to do with human-computer interaction, and there's a screen, you are likely the one going to be designing for those platforms. And we have the newest one right now, but it's there, but companies are still building for it, which is this, we didn't talk about VR, okay, VR and augmented reality, VR and AR platforms. We also have VR and AR platforms. But why it's not here is because these are not things you are likely going to, start with as you start your journey in UI UX. If you want to directly go to VR and AR, it's going to be a little bit more difficult, except you already have some basic graphic design knowledge. And also, the companies never choke, although there is a lot of potential there for designing for VR and AR. But we also understand that whenever you are learning, right, in as much as you want to distinguish yourself, it's always good to first of all learn the one that will be giving you food money, right? So right now, a lot of companies are looking for AR, VR designers, but they are not that much yet. Although it's a good time to enter, But right now, it's not a good time for entry-level designers because nobody right now will likely hire an entry-level designer. Instead, it is the um, advanced or professional designers that are now pivoting into AR and VR. So if you want to go into that field right now without understanding the basics of design, or you've never worked with a 3D environment, it's just going to be a little bit, difficult. And also, these other platforms you are going to be looking at, you will likely get jobs faster if you know how to design for them. Okay. So web, mobile, desktop, and voice user interfaces. These are different platforms you are going to be designing for. Now, when designing for web, there are some things you should take note of. When designing for web, you should take note of things like responsive web designs. Okay. That means whatever you are designing needs to be what? Responsive. Because when you design a web app or a website, users are likely to open it on different device sizes. Some will open it on their TV, some will open it on their desktop, some will open on their laptop, some will open on their tablet, some will open on their phone. So you have to make sure that your design is what? Responsive. So I appreciate if you are taking notes, because this, if I send this PDF to you guys, we will not read it. But if you take notes, it will enter more. Although this is not, it's not rocket science. We will still repeat some of, you will still hear these things over and over again, okay, until you enter. So with web design, we are looking at responsive design. And I said responsive design is basically a way to design to make your design adapt to various screen sizes. So if you're working on web design, a website or a web app, you need to know that you are going to be designing different screen sizes. So that means by the time you are done designing for the web, that's for the laptop version, you are likely going to do a tablet version, and you are also going to do a mobile version. So take note of this. So if someone approaches you for a web app, just know that after you are done designing, in case you even want to charge, just have it in mind that you are not just going to be designing one screen or one device. No, you must make sure by the time you are done with your design, you also create the responsive version. So that means as you finish your web, you are going to be doing your mobile, and also you are going to be doing your tablet. In some cases, they might even ask you to do the television version. That's the TV version. So take note of these things, okay? It's very important. And we have the next one, which is mobile. Now, if someone calls you and say, I want you to design a mobile app, to show that you know exactly what you're doing, the first question you want to ask is, which platform, right? Because it could be iOS, it could be Android, or like right now, most people do hybrid. That means they build a kind of app that can work on both platforms without necessarily designing for specific platforms. Now, it's important for you to know, because if you notice on the iPhone uses a lot of swipe, while Android uses a lot of taps, right? So you need to understand, because for when you're designing for iPhone, you have smaller screen, you also have touch interactions. So you need to understand how they work. So like on iOS, for iPhone, you have the Apple Human Interface Guideline, and for Android, you have the Google Material Design. Some of what we've been doing so far with the Spendy app are like principles from the Google Material Design, right? But these things are not difficult to implement, because if you go to their website, you are going to see their documentation. So it's just for you to read and implement. There are things that you might not need to redesign. For instance, if you are designing an app, the status bar, you don't need to design it yourself, because they already have design files that you can just go to and pick those status bar. If you are designing and you want to use the native keyboard, there is no need to redesign it. You just go to, if you are designing for Apple, you just go to Apple's design system and pick the keyboard, okay? If it is notification size, for instance, if you don't know the sizes and you just go and design, you will be designing something that is wrong. If you are using iPhone or Android, if off your phone, then just double tap it. You see that the notification have specific sizes. So these are the things that the platform guideline will show you. So that when designing, let's say you finish designing an app and you are asked to create this notification, you must make sure you maintain that size. No be you get the platform. You cannot come and tell them what to do. So they have different specifications for different elements. So you need to go through the documentation and then measure. So when you measure it, let's say you go through the documentation and they tell you, okay, for this kind of component, use 5 by this. That is what you should stick to, especially for native components. Okay, not custom components like your own. Native components, very, very important. Okay, so that's for mobile and web. Then you have the desktop. So the desktop are a little bit more, the interaction is a little bit more complex. Okay, so you can interact with your mouse, you can interact with your keyboard. In fact, you can interact with your PS2 pads. So you find out that when you are designing for desktop, you need to take note of all those things like the inputs, the sound, and everything. You need to take note of them when designing for all these things. And yes, you must not do web apps and mobile apps. There are also UI UX designers or product designers that work on desktop products. Okay, products for desktops and things like that. If you've used any video editing platform, now product designers design them as well. If you've used any AI interface, it's also product designers that design, right? So it's not just limited to websites. So if you see all those complex medical apps that run on Windows and the rest, if you go to the bank, the banking this thing, they have their own software as well. It is product designers and UI UX designers that will work on those desktop projects. So when it is desktop, you want to confirm if it is also Windows or Mac, just the way you confirm if it is Android or iOS and mobile. And then we have the voice interaction. This one, like I said, it focuses on what? Conversation. So these are what we know as what? Platforms. So from today, make sure you are more conscious of what you are doing. So even if you want to practice outside what we have, let's say you want to design a login screen, you should make sure you first consciously make the effort to say, okay, I want to design this, and this is for iPhone. That's for iOS. So you want to go in and make sure the screen you choose is an iOS screen, not you designing an Android app and you are using iOS screen size, or you are designing for iOS and you are using Android screen size, right? It's not going to work, because if you want to build a house and you are using the wrong land size, there's no way it's going to work out. Now, don't come and tell me if I've done the mistake. There is no easy way. So please, as you are starting, fix the size. And one quick tip, anytime you are designing for screen, always design for the smallest screen so that you can easily scale it up. It's always better to design for the smallest screen than scale it up. But when it comes to the idea of responsive design, okay, take note, there are two things now. If you are designing for maybe mobile, so if you are designing for Apple phone now, iOS, don't just go and start with iPhone 15, except there is a specific reason why you want to start with what? iPhone 15. Let's say if it's an app that only works on iPhone 15 upwards, that is fine. But if it's an app that they are looking to support smaller iPhones, make sure you use the least iPhone size, and that should be the iPhone 13 mini. Okay, if you check, it's the least one with the width. Okay, iPhone 13 mini. If it's an Android, use Android small. I get it. But when it comes to responsive design on the web platform, this does not mean you should design for mobile first, then you now do desktop. A lot of people do that, but it doesn't always end well. So if you are working on a website, make sure you work on desktop first. From the desktop version, it's easier for you to now scale down to mobile and tablets. Okay, so any questions before we move into the next one? Any question on the platforms? Okay, no question. Okay, that's good. So like I said, whenever you want to design, understand that there are what? Platforms. You don't just jump into design. Now, why I'm also saying this is that probably by the time you finish and you start working a bit, someone might come and say, we need you to design for a POS app, POS machine. So you don't use the same knowledge you have from designing for iOS app to jump into POS, you first need to go and check what size of screen does the POS have, right? What type of interaction? Are people going to be moving with button, or is it going to be screen touch? You need to understand this so that you can design experiences tailored for them. For instance, if people are going to be moving a lot with physical keys, you need to make sure you don't have so many icons or so many features on a screen at a time, because people will get tired moving bam, 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 bam. It will not be a good experience, right? Instead, you might want to bundle things up in folders. Okay, if someone walks up to you now and say, we need you to design, and it's for the Mercedes Benz, so the screen, you don't just jump in. You need to understand the sizes, the specification of the screen, right? So you know how to actually do your design. Although right now, technology have grown. If it were before, you even need to understand the display settings of that particular platform or device, so that you know how to even optimize your designs. But at least a lot of the computers now have good screens, so that problem has been solved. Okay, so let's proceed to principles of design. Having known the platforms, what are the principles, right? Now, the principles are just like guidelines. They are not law. They're just guidelines that will help you make better decisions when next you are designing. So principles form the foundation of creating user interfaces and experiences that are not only functional, but also engaging and enjoyable. These principles guide designers in making informed decisions to ensure the products are intuitive, accessible, and visually appealing. So we're going to take a look at some of them. Remember, it is you applying this thing in your design that matters, not necessarily cramming them so that you can pass the quizzes and tests, right? So the first thing, as you are designing, you want to make sure your product is what? Usable. So this is what usability refers to. So usability refers to the ease with which users can learn to use a product and achieve their goal efficiently and effectively. If you notice, when you downloaded WhatsApp, you didn't need any tutorial to start using it. You downloaded it, you saw the action, you enter your number, you entered your number. They said, you start chatting, you started chatting. They didn't, it was not a hassle. So that is what we mean by usability. You want to make sure that whatever you are doing is so easy for anyone to understand and run along with, right? You don't want to create a design that will need another master class for people to learn how to use it. Are you getting it? In fact, if you know that your design is going to change so drastically, you can now introduce things like onboarding screens, onboarding tips, tool tips, right? If you notice on WhatsApp, when they were trying to introduce the WhatsApp, the Meta AI, you notice they were just taking us through some series of changes, small, small, small. And anyone you do, if you enter WhatsApp, they'll just show you a tip on how to use small, small, small. Assuming you woke up one day and you just enter, you saw the search bar, you saw the Meta AI, you'll be so overwhelmed, right? So your product should be what? Usable. Some of the things you can implement to make sure your product is usable is one, consistency. So you have to maintain uniformities in design elements such as colors, fonts, layout, and across products to reduce the learning curve. So if you are using color blue as your brand color and you are using that particular color blue to drive all the primary actions, please maintain it. Don't go and use it for the secondary actions too or accents. Okay, maintain it. That's what we mean by consistency. If you are using size 3, size 20, example for heading, make sure you maintain it across all the sites so that once people see it, they'll know that, oh, this is a heading, right? But using different colors, different fonts, different elements, just anywhere with the letters will not help the design of the product. The next one is feedback. There are some actions that users are likely going to be taking on your app by clicking of a button or tapping something. Make sure you provide feedback. Because when you don't provide feedback, people are going to have a bad experience. That is why today, if you hover on a button, your mental model, based on all the experience you have, you expect it to just, even if the color change small, that is showing you that, okay, I have hovered, I'm currently here. That is what? Feedback. If people submit a form, or when people are trying to register, when someone click on sign up, and then nothing happens, they will feel like the app is broken. But by simply adding maybe a loading button or just a text saying submitting, right? That gives them that instant feedback that, okay, something is going on. Or let's say someone is trying to load an application. Instead of just showing the person a white screen, you could just show the person a loading screen. That is feedback. When someone submits a form, you should be able to tell the person, okay, your form has been submitted. That is feedback. Or if there's an error in the form, you should be able to tell the person, oops, there's an error. Are you getting it? So these are all feedback. Now, with this knowledge you have now as a product designer, because don't forget, the difference between you and a UI UX designer is that UI UX designer focuses more on the user experience. Although at the entry level, the line is very thin, but user experience designer, UI UX designers, focuses more on the experience and the UI. But a product designer, you have to think of the product as a whole. You are building an entire product, not just the experience. So you need to also take into account several factors. In fact, you also need to understand how the product is going to work. Because design, they say, is not how it looks, but how it works. So when you hear design, when they say product design, it is not designing the product the way it looks. No, it is designing the product the way it works. So that's why we've talked about platforms and business. You need to understand how it works. If you say, okay, for instance, how many of you knows how Google Map works? Not the coding or anything. Like how does Google Map detect when there is hold up? Do you know? So you can go and find out all these things. Now, as a product designer, you need to.
Yes, sir, I know it works.
Okay, you know how it works, but anyway, no time. So everyone will go and read it. Go and read how it works. Okay. So as a product designer, you really need to know how whatever product you're trying to do, how it works, so you can design the end-to-end experience. Right? So knowing what you know now about feedbacks, it simply means that when you are designing a sign-up field, a sign-up screen, you should now know that this design does not just end at sign-up screen. That means if I finish designing sign-up screen, I'm going to design another screen to catch what? Errors. Okay? I'm going to design another screen to catch errors. Errors like if the email is not correct, I need a screen to show that, oops, email, username, or password not correct. Now, you also need a screen to capture, what's it called? Capture success. So if the person validation, input validation, so you need a screen to also capture input validation. That means if the person enters the right answer, you might just want to give the person a little feedback, maybe highlight the input to green to show the person, okay, good, it is working. So it is you understanding this end to end that really makes you a product designer or a UI UX designer. A random designer will just come and do sign up screen. You don't go, you don't finish. Right? But you as a product designer, you are looking, in fact, you are building the products from the end to the beginning. You are like a mini god, kind of. Because you have to think through everything the user is likely to do, every action the user is likely to do, and provide the corresponding screens for those actions. I don't know if people are beginning to get the idea of what it means to design a product. Okay, for some of you here, you probably been using an app and you find out that you mistakenly deleted something and you were so sad, but all of a sudden you saw an undo button and you press that undo and it came back and you automatically became happy. That is good user experience. Now imagine the product designer didn't consider that. As you just delete and you don't go and you are shattered. You know, I remember one time my former 9 to 5 manager reached out to me and said, God's will, help me. My WhatsApp, I didn't know what happened. Just delete. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. And probably, I don't know, he has a lot of messages there. Maybe a very viable suitor has just sent her a message, but wahala, the thing won't delete. So I was like, well, they download it, but instead of signing up or signing in, start from the backup. Now, the main thing is not because I said it, not even me, although to her, she was so happy when she got her messages back. She was thanking me as if Nami be Mark Zuckerberg. She was thanking me. Meanwhile, the truth is, imagine the people that designed WhatsApp didn't envisage the scenario of people moving their chat from one phone to another or starting afresh or something, and they didn't provide that feature to back up your WhatsApp on Google Drive. That means immediately you mistakenly delete, it is gone forever, which will lead to a bad user experience. So you can begin to see how a product designer should be thinking, because you are basically designing that product from ground up. Okay, and then you have error prevention and recovery. This is another truth. No matter how you try to design, people will always run into error. Okay, so it is now you that is supposed to help them recover from that error. Example, imagine someone is trying to log into your app that you've designed, and maybe the email is not correct or one of the field is not correct. Then your feedback simply says, oops, incorrect credentials. What the hell is incorrect credentials? Or it says, oops, cannot log in, error. Now, that didn't help the user in any way. But let's assume that mistake happened and you are like, oops, password is incorrect. Please try again. You have actually diagnosed what it is, and with the try again, you've told the person how to recover from that error. So you can see that some solutions to some problem might not even be designed. It might just be a simple copy. How you write, communication, how you communicate, right? So simple things like that. Like I don't use OPay. I don't know why, but I'll download it. But then there was a feature I saw they had. Someone posted it on Twitter, and I thought it was extremely brilliant. Because one of the issues I've always had with my FCMB is when I send money, sometimes it goes, sometimes it doesn't go, sometimes it takes time, right? So it's all about you and the person waiting it out and looking for the person who will first drop in Riz. Can't ask, Oga, the money never go, or Oga, you don't see the alert. You know, those things they drop person Riz. Imagine you send person money and you can't ask the person, you don't see the money. Your risk don't drop, you don't go zero. You know, as a big boy, once you send money, you should know that it's transferred. Or person send you money, you can't call her. I got the money don't go from your end, I never see them. Risk don't drop. So, but OPay did a feature whereby as you are sending the money, you are going to see the estimated time it's going to take for that transaction to complete. So let's say you are sending money from OPay and you choose FCMB. If they check their network, right, they can now tell you this transaction will take 5 minutes to reach the recipient. That gives you peace of mind. And in some cases, they even use it to sell their product. They will not tell you, but if it is OPay to OPay, it is instant. By that time, now you will even tell the other person, maybe download OPay, right? So you should be able to help people recover from, prevent error, and also help people recover from it. Example is also the undo that we spoke about. Immediately you delete something, you should help someone because the person might delete something by mistake. I guess it. So you can just put an undo feature. That way you can find out that every decision you make while designing your product is important. It's not just any way the left. Okay, so that is usability. When designing your product, make sure it is usable, right? The next principle here is accessibility. You want to make sure whatever you are doing, make sure it is accessible. Okay, make sure it is accessible. Now, one of the questions they will always ask you in an interview, right, especially if it's a big company, they are going to tell you, how do you, implement accessibility when designing? Or do you consider accessibility when designing? If yes, how do you implement it? Now, these are ways you could implement it. One, perceivability. Ensure that users can perceive all necessary information, regardless of their sensory ability. Understand that the product you are designing, there might be people who will use it who are color blind. There are people who will use it who probably don't see, right? They're visually impaired. So by making sure you create your design in a way that it is what perceivable will help you. For instance, instead of just providing an icon, you can add a label to the icon so that those who look icon, they don't know what they do. They can read the label and understand what it does. Okay, we also have operability. So designing interface that all users can navigate and operate. E.g., as you're designing, make sure you provide options for keyboard navigation and voice commands. Although right now most browsers on the web are implementing it. If you go to a new website now, you can literally highlight it and tell it to read it out loud for you. So this is basically accessibility in action. Then understandability. Make sure that as you're creating your design, this is something that people will understand. Use simple languages. Like I just told you, don't do something like, oops, system error. What do you mean by system error? The entire system don't crash, or what exactly happened? I get it. Use simple languages. Like I told you, when it comes to product design, it's not just the design. You worry about the UX, you worry about the UI, you also worry about the copy. The copy. In big companies, they might have different people handling this, but the chances of you getting that big company immediately you finish is not that much, because you have smaller companies than big companies. In Nigeria, the big tech companies, I'm not sure they are up to 50. Once you say tech companies in Nigeria, people just tell you GIG, Paystack, what's their name? And all this, I'm not sure they're up to 50. But you see businesses and organizations, then choke. They will hire you first. They'll hire you faster than all those ones. Plenty of people there on Instagram, where they look for website designers, they choke, right? So you find out that you want to make sure you understand some of these things, okay? Make sure the languages you use, you must know a little bit of writing, UX writing, and it's not difficult to learn. By visiting different websites and studying how they structure their content, you also will understand how to structure yours. It's basically making things short, because people don't have time to read nowadays. So you want to make sure you make everything short and clear. So we have usability, we have accessibility, we have visual design. For this one, I'm just going to skip it. I'll skip this one. We'll talk about it shortly. Okay. Then after visual design, we have information architecture. Like I told you guys last time, arranging your information is very important. So all the apps you see, they all have information. Okay. So arranging them so that it is clear, it is findable, and it is also simple. That's what you're looking for. Ensure that the structure and labeling of the content are clear, making it easier for users to locate, and also keeping the information structure simple to avoid overwhelming users. Okay, and the last one now is user research. User research is basically that last thing that makes your design make sense, right? Because you can't build a product that is usable, accessible, with a good information architecture if you don't do research. So you definitely do research. You can do interviews, you can do survey, you can do usability testing. You do this research to understand what the market or what the customer needs, the customer's pain points. Okay, so let me open this up. I want to go ahead and open this up so I can show you guys. So like I said, visual design, we skipped visual design. Okay. Let me bring this right here. So when it comes to visual design, here are some of the principles. Contrast. Number one, contrast. Now they are not serially. Okay, they are not, it's not like you need to, these are things you see all the time. And I think, so for contrast, contrast is the difference between various elements within a design that makes them stand out from each other. Let's take a look at this website, Money Point. So let's go to moneypoint.com. Now, some of these things can overlap. They are not mutually exclusive. Okay, in fact, no need for Money Point. You can see this color here is white, and this color is somehow blue. You see the difference between these two colors? That is contrast. Okay, that is contrast. So sometimes you can use contrast to show things that are more important. Because right here, this is the caption we want people to see. And that is why we've made it, they've used this color to differentiate between them. Okay, so that's contrast for you. So as you are designing, you have to put it in mind, right? You can do some subtle differentiation just to give more reference to a particular element compared to the other one. Okay, then if you scroll down here, you are going to see balance. You have two ways to balance items. Okay, it can be symmetrical or asymmetrical. Symmetrical is when both sides of the design is visually equal. That's visually equal on the both sides. That's on the left and the right, or the top or the bottom. Then you have a symmetrical whereby one side is bigger than the rest. So you can basically do symmetrical and asymmetrical balance. Okay, let me just show you guys. Image, let's get some image. Okay, so this is an image here, illustration. So you can see this is a symmetric design. Everything is equal. You can see this side is also equal to this side. But you can see a symmetric design. You can see that there's more visual weight on this part of the design. Okay, there's more visual weight here. Let's also take a look at another one so that you can understand it clearer. I don't like these trees. These people chose the right, they chose the easy way out. Okay, this is better. So this is symmetrical as well. This is asymmetrical. Now remember, you are not drawing bunch of circles. If you come to this hero section, you can see that everything here is almost equal everything on this other side. Okay, that's what you mean by symmetrical design. Okay, you can see here we have here, here we have here. So the visual balance, if you divide it into two, you get equal visual weight, right? So that's balance. Make sure your design is balanced. You can use symmetrical or asymmetrical. Okay, then you have emphasis. Emphasis is just like contrast, but it's a little bit different. So emphasis causes certain part of the design to stand out compared to other elements. Okay, now let's take a look at Money Point. If you take a look at this section here, join over. Do you see the way they've highlighted this 2 million and made it blue color? That is emphasis. You can see immediately it draws your attention. Now, these are the things that makes your design better than the other designer's design, right? Because you are taking note of some certain things, some certain principles. So let's assume they say they gave you a caption like free 10% every Friday, or grab free meal here every Friday. There are two ways you could go about it. If you notice that what is important to the people is that free meal, in that text, you can just highlight free meal and change the color. So that when people look at it, they'll be like, oh, about free meal, right? But if you want people to take more cognizance of the day it happens, before they will think, saying every day they will call it free meal. right? If you want people to take note of the day, you write free meal every that Friday, you highlight it and make it pop, right? That is what using what emphasis. Now, the other designer might just go and write free meal every Friday and make everything bold. Is it wrong? No. But your own that you understand some of these things and you decided to do it like that will just be more commanding. People will just be like, this one makes sense, right? People just get that information sharp. So that is emphasis. Then you have proportion. Make sure things are, the size of elements. So based on proportion, you can use proportion to direct people's attention, the way people use or people read particular elements. So for instance, right here on this Money Point website, you can see the proportion here. You can see this here, this here, this here, this here. They are not the same sizes. This helps you to read. In fact, on these elements, the tiniest font here is this guy. This high, need any help? And that is why you are likely to see it last. In fact, you are likely to see this pop up here first before this guy. So you use proportion to arrange the hierarchy of your content. Okay. And we have hierarchy. The same time I said, so you can use proportion to arrange hierarchy. Hierarchy is basically the importance element. So you can use proportion to arrange hierarchy. So like I said earlier, these things are not mutually exclusive. They work together. Some of you have been doing it and you don't even know that there's a name for it. Okay, so hierarchy refers to the importance of elements within a design. The most important element should appear to be the most important and vice versa. Now, there are a lot of them. I might not be able to go through everything. Okay, we have repetition. If you type principles of design, you are going to get this. We have rhythm, we have patterns, we have white space, very important. So this one, I'll explain this one. White space is very, very important. Whenever you are designing, make sure you have enough white space. Let's take a look at this design. You see, there's enough space. You can see white space everywhere, in between and all these parts here. If you also come here, you can see the space. They didn't bring this, all the tools. They didn't start it here. They didn't start it at this point. They gave enough what? White space. See this icon. See the white space around it, the space around it. Okay? You can achieve these things using margin and padding. So it's very important. Your design. See this business chart. You can see that they didn't start it here. You can see enough space. You can see enough space. So please, those of you that when you are designing your button, you are starting your text here. Be warned. Be warned. Don't fall a victim. Always make sure you apply what? White space in your design. Very, very important. Okay. I think that's the last one I will just explain. Movement, variety, unity, and yes. So I might also share this in the group, but it's not reading it. It's not reading it. It is you applying it as you are what? Designing. So any questions so far? Because we want to go into the next part of this training where we all meet on Figma. But before that, any question? Is there anything that you still don't understand when it comes to platform and some of the principles of UI UX design? Okay, I hope you guys are taking notes because sometimes notes will always, help out. And so let me go ahead now and start answering the question from the question Destiny asked. So they are great questions. So let's just do it. Then we'll hop direct into Figma. Okay. So the first question is, why did I use rectangle for BG instead of a frame? Now, when you want to design a background, okay, there might be different things you want to do on that background. Now, for your main frame, your main background would always be like a frame, okay? So you can color this frame or do anything you want. But let's assume I want to create like some kind of graphics for my background and I want to be able to move it around. I will likely use tools from these graphic elements. Maybe I want to just create something. I want my background to be like this. but I want it to have a hole punch. Okay, I want it to have a hole punch. I draw my hole punch, drop it here. Okay, select the two of them. Because both of them are shapes, I can actually use this tool. I know we've not talked about it, but I can actually use this tool and create like a hole punch, right? Because two of them are what? Graphics. And I can now go ahead and say, okay, this is my background. Okay, maybe let's do 50 and see. Okay, I can actually do something like this and say, okay, I want to use something like this as my what background, but I can't achieve this using a frame. So you find out that if I draw a frame and I also want to use this technique, you can see I won't achieve that. Even if I select two of them, I won't see that property. So you use these things when you want to create some graphics. Okay, if you want the backgrounds to be a little bit graphical, just use your normal shapes for it. It's more extensible. Okay, but make sure by the time you are done, you must add it to a frame so you can easily move them, and also activate clip content so that it hides other parts that you don't want to show. Are you getting it? So tailwind icons. So anytime you want to design, you want to work on a project, one of the decisions you want to make is to choose where you'll be getting your icon path from. Now, if it is just you designing now for a portfolio, you can choose any icon pack you want. But let's say you are working on an iOS app, you don't just choose any icon pack you want. If you want to make use of the native icons, you must make sure you download the SF symbol, which is for Apple. If you're on Mac, you will get it natively. But if you're on Windows, you need to download SF symbols, right? So that you can make use of them, because that is the one the developer is likely going to use. So you using any kind of font is waste of time, both on your end and the developer's side. Okay, except if the project you guys agreed on using custom icons, that is different. But whereby you want to stick with the system, this thing, you must make sure you download it. For Google, for Android, you use material design icons. Okay, now if it is for a web app, for web apps, if the person is likely going to use React as their front end development, you probably want to use icons from Tailwind. Okay, icons from Tailwind or icons from React as well. If the person is going to be developing it using Bootstrap, you can use icons from Bootstrap. I get it. Or you can even ask the developer what kind of technology are they going to be using, because some of these technologies have somewhat native icons you could use. But of course, there are times you can use normal or customized icon, like icons from Icon Noir, icons from Flat Icons, icons from FreePic. Okay, so there are times you might want to use that. So yeah, now principles of how to use color. Next week we are going to take a look at principles of color and the rest of them. Okay, but what I just want you to know is that when you are using color, there's something called the 60-30-10 rule. We'll also explore that by next week, the 60-30-10 rule. So the principle is, as you are starting now, make sure you use a lot of neutral background. That is your white, your black, your grays. Okay, make sure you use a lot of neutral background. Then drive your actions using your primary color. Just like this design we did here, you can clearly see that on this design, the primary color is yellow, this yellow. And that's why we've used this yellow to drive the primary action. Okay, so use your primary color to drive the primary action, while you use your neutral colors for every other thing in between. It's very important. Okay, the next question, atomic. Okay, so the concept of atomic design is to help you organize your work, because one thing you are going to notice with design is there are a lot of repetitions. There are a lot of repetitions. Okay, so if you want to do anything, think system. Don't think uh, about one design. Don't think about one component or one element. Think what system. Think of how these things will work as a system. Remember, when you are designing, you are not just designing for one screen. In some cases, you are designing for 100 screens, 200 screens, 300 screens, 10 screens. So you have to think system. How can I design in such a way that I can easily update and manage this design? That is where atomic design comes in. So atomic design is basically saying that whenever you want to set up the design, start with the smallest ones. Example of the smallest one includes a spacing, your font type, your primary, secondary accent colors, your system colors, your typography, and your icons. These are the atomic elements because every other thing you are going to be designing is going to come from them. By the time you define your spacing and your font sizes and your color at the atomic level, when you go to the next one, which is building the molecule, right? Because from atoms you go to molecule. For instance, this text you are seeing here, the text, everything here is from atoms. Now, the button is a molecule. Are you getting it? The button is a molecule because it is basically a mixture of what? Two two atoms. That is the text, the typography, and the padding, and then the color. Are you getting it? So that one now is what? A molecule. Now from molecule, you move to the next one, which is organism. Okay? From molecule, you move to what? Organism. Example of organism is now this full one here, like this here. This your email, this and this search button. It is an what? Organism. Now, when designing like this, you find out that in case the person said, I don't want the color yellow, you don't come here and change it. You go to the main color, swap the yellow, and this will automatically update. So from there, you have your organism, you build your organism. Now you combine these organisms to build the what? The templates. Okay, you combine this organism to build what? The template. The templates now include maybe hero sections, it includes footers, it includes like this sign up, okay, it includes like a form. So these are what? The organisms. That way, once you've done your organism, anybody, any designer can easily design your product because the only thing remaining are pages. So if you start working, basically that you notice, you understand this better. If you start working, most company already have all these things. All what you are working on, you are concentrating on is pages because they already have all these things. So if you needed, like, let's say you are designing something and you needed to put like a newsletter, you don't need to start afresh. You just go and drag the newsletter components and then you edit the text. That is how it works. Okay, but why are we learning this way and not learning with a design system? Design system, I think, is for professionals. You can't start learning with design system. Okay, design system is when you've known what you are doing. You can now start using templates and the rest. For now, you need to know how to create this thing because chances are most companies that will hire you, they might not have such things, or in some cases you might need to be able to, especially for freelance gigs, you need to be able to develop these things yourself. Okay, so I hope you understand the atomic principles right now. So that means the atomic ones are like the spacing where you define your space, your 4, 8, 12, 16 ahead. Those are atomic ones. Your icons, atomic. Your, if there are any things, any shapes you are like, colors, typography, those are what? Atomic. Once you start joining them, you begin to build what? Molecules. When you start joining molecules together, you get what? Organisms. When you start joining organisms together, you create your what? You create your page. Right? So organisms, you create your template. From templates, if you mix multiple templates together, you get your what? Pages. So I hope you understand that well now. And the last one, optimal spacing. Like I said, just maintain the 8-point or 4-point grid. Okay, 8-point or 4-point grid. So as you are spacing, you check is 4 okay. If it's 4, it's not okay. You move to 8. If 8 is still jam packed, you move to 12. Or you can start with 8, then 16, then 24. Okay. In some cases, you might break this rule, but it is one of the most robust spacing units we have out there, especially for web apps and websites. Okay. The next thing you ask is button shadow. There are no specific shadow, but it's just a well-known trick to add. So if you have, okay, if you have, let's say this color here, and you want to give this a shadow, let me put it inside the white frame. One of the things you should know that is you want to make your shadows realistic. So if I click on effect shadow, you can see this is not very realistic. It's just there. Okay. So what you want to do, shadows can be larger. So if I'm using 4 here, I can make my blur 8. Okay, but that doesn't mean it must be 4. It must be 8. I can actually increase it to like 25, but this will not be very large. You can see the difference. Now, for a shadow, you also want it subtle. If you use 25, it might just be too much, or if it is okay, you leave it. But mostly you want to go within 10. And you can see that this shadow is a little bit more subtle than what we have when we apply this shadow. Okay, you can also, let's assume this background has a color. Okay, let's assume this background has a color. Okay, now there are 2 types of shadows you could add if this background, since this background have a color. Instead of just making it, let me bring it back to 25. Instead of just making it black, you can see the color is black. What you can do is to get the color of this background and use a dark shade of it. So click on this color and select this, then select this color. But you know, when you select this color, all you need to do is to come and make the color darker. This will give you a much more realistic shadow because it has a mixture of the background color. Now, if you want to create a glow instead of a background color, you make sure that the color of your shadow is the same color as your element. So instead of this, let's go and use yellow. Okay, so let's go and make it 25. Let's make it 50 so you can see it clearly. Now, this is a glow. It's kind of a glow for a shadow. So take note of these 3 things. Okay, and remember there are different types of shadows. I think in your effect class, you are going to learn different types of shadows. So this is just about what you know about shadow. For the MasterCard logo, like I said, it depends on the size. When you are working, it depends on your real estate size. But yes, make sure the height, especially the height, the width can go scot-free if it's spanning edge to edge like this, okay? If the width is spanning from edge to edge like this, any number would work. But with height, make sure you use heights that are divisible by 4 at this stage, okay? Use heights that are divisible by 4, okay? It will just help balance the alignment of the words baseline, the baseline alignment, okay? And yes, scaling for mockups, like I said, if you are scaling, if I select this and I come in here and I do 400, you can see only this particular one reduces, okay? But if I use my K tool and I type in 400 here, it will scale down everything. So scale is to reduce everything. But when you just select an element here, even though these ones are inside, if you adjust it here, it will only affect that one. So if you are working with mockups and you want to join things, yes, you want to go ahead and use what? Scale. And you can access it by pressing K on your keyboard, or you can also come here and choose the scale tool. Okay, so you can easily scale your elements. I think those are the questions, and I think I've been able to answer those questions. So please, let's meet on Figma. But if you have questions, you can just unmute quickly and ask. But if you don't have questions, let's meet on Figma. Come join me on Figma.
Okay, sir. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes.
Okay, so Jim asked that I should join the class. So I don't know how am I to join the Figma? Is there like a specific link for me to join like the team?
I don't understand.
No, like I think the last class, I saw like the student they could be able to work like multiple person on the same
Yeah.
like they could be able to join on the same interface, like the workspace. Like I saw
Is
different.
this Japheth coordinator?
Yeah.
Just imagine. Eh? I can they answer this question one like this. Okay, I'll post share your email in the comment section, so I'll add it to the file.
Okay.
Just imagine. Coordinator don't chop our 16 minutes. Okay, I'm waiting for us. I'm waiting for us. Please join us on the file. Okay. I can
I'm yes
only
already
see-
here.
Yeah, come Kara, I can see you.
I'm already here.
Yes, I can see you. Let me go ahead and paste. Let me delete this soft page. Okay, I'll add you
So
shortly.
I'll send to you.
So,
Okay.
okay.
So Jeff, let's see.
So I'm going to explain this design, okay, so that you can attempt it. Remember, you copy it, you go to your page, you start designing while I'm monitoring you like a monitoring screen. Japheth, is it the first one or second one? I can see two.
The second one. The second one.
Oh, okay. So let me see. Let me invite you to the team. I'm waiting for us. Okay, we have two people now. Please, everyone on the live, please join me.
I'm waiting for. I'm here already, sir.
I can see you. Okay. Let's go to share. Invite by email. Where is it? So you have a Figma link, a Figma account.
Yes, sir, I do.
Let me paste this thing. The email one, I don't know what's going on. So use this to join us. Okay.
Okay.
So let me explain what's going on here so you guys can design. Okay. So this is from admin. Nobody should come and steal admin design. So we use the iPhone 13 mini for this. And here you can see we've given 50, there's a 50 px spacing that will box, invisible box here, okay? So if you check this to the top, you can see 50, okay? That is we reserve that place for the status bar, okay? So we have the get started here, and we have this ready launch. This is, by the way, for, I think it's for Slack. Then we have this here and this. So we are going to recreate this, and we use the 4 grid. We use a 4-column grid to make sure everything is properly aligned. Okay. So for this, you are not going to be drawing this. Okay. You are not going to be drawing this. So we are going to be getting this from story set by FreePick. So that's what I want to show you. So when you get here, you can choose from, although I will give you this asset, but just take note. Okay. So when you are designing and you need some illustrations, there are different plugins you could use and get illustrations. In most companies, they might have an illustrator that will be providing you, the designer, with the illustrations. Okay. But as you begin to grow in your career, if you know you really like illustration, you can add illustration, you can learn illustration and add it to your skill. If you know you really like animation, you can learn animation and add to your skill. If you know you really like 3D, you can learn 3D and add to your skill. If you like VFX, you learn VFX, you add to your skill. That is how it works. Probably after learning VFX, you learn something else, add to your skill, just like that. But for now, don't go and stress yourself trying to do illustration. What you do instead is to come to Figma, you go to plugins, and you look for this plugin called Story Set by Freepik. So I'm pasting it here, Story Set by Freepik. Okay, Story Set. Story Set by Freepik. Okay, so you can see it right here, Story Set by Freepik. And you can see different illustration. Like for this one now, we simply searched for rockets, and it's giving us different illustration that has rockets. But here is something I want you to know. So if you are looking for anything, just type in the keyword. You can choose different styles here, but I didn't specify any style. But one thing you should note is this. If you are going through this illustration, most time you might not need everything inside that illustration. Okay, so think of that. When you are going through the illustration, it might just be for some specific element. For instance, you might be going through this illustration because of this blob. Maybe you don't know how to draw a blob and you need a blob. You can just take this illustration. This gray stuff you are seeing here is what is called a blob. So you just go and pick that blob right there. Okay, so you scroll down, you might just need this rocket without this extra things. For this one, you might just need this, only this rocket. In some cases, you need all of them. Okay, so for this one, I think I was scrolling down and I saw something. Where's that one? Okay, I think this is it. You can see where I picked this from. So the advantage of story set is that, let me click on it, it will enter. Then let me close this. The advantage of story set is that, hope you guys are on Google Meet so I can see what I'm doing. The advantage of story set is that it gives you these illustrations in SVG formats. That means you can manipulate anything you want here. Okay, so you can manipulate anything you want here. Okay, by that, what do I mean? You can actually change the colors. So don't also look at the colors. If your color is green, you can just select it, then come to selection color. So that's what this selection color is used for. Remember, when you select an element, to change the color, you go to fill. Okay, but what if you select more than one element and you want to change a particular color that appears on every instance of that selection? You go to your selection colors. You can see right now on selection colors, I can see this color. I can select it and change the color to my primary color. Click green, and you can see I've automatically changed the mood, the color scheme of this design. If I don't want this black, I can come in here and say, okay, I want something a little bit on the gray part. Okay, or let's do white. And then let's come in here. Let's say, okay, this particular one, right? I want something towards the gray part. Okay, let's come to this side. Let's choose our color first and use light green. Okay, so you can see how I've been able to customize this entire design. Okay, so and you can now say, okay, I need only this. I need only this. I don't need any of these other ones. So you can drag it outside the group. Okay, so you can drag it outside the group and you go ahead and what? Delete this. Okay, delete this as well. So this is basically what you are likely going to be working on. So okay, let me make it easier for us. So this icon, okay, let me tell you what you are going to copy. So go and redesign this. For this icon, let me remove the angle so you can angle it yourself. So I think if I do it like this, all of you will cheat, Nigerians. Instead, background, ma paste them as picture. Good. So copy these two. So click, copy the two of them, and Okay, wait. May wahala no come. Why am I seeing only 3 people here? Rema, Damilare, Conqueror, Funom. You guys should join. We have more people on the live. I know there with my system. You know, it's while you are designing, I can actually correct you. So it's always good to join this live design, okay? So copy and go to your page. Go to your page, paste it. If you don't have a page, just click on the plus sign here and add a new page, then enter your name. Please don't move. Just select, wait, don't move. Just click from here like this. Cover these two, okay? Copy it, go to your page, paste it, and start designing. Your time starts now. So remember, we always work with time. So you have 25 minutes to work on this design. So let's start our timer, our Pomodoro timer. Timer. Hey, well, timer.
So where did you
So
say I don't have a page?
Click on the plus sign. Click on the plus sign here. Then it will add a new page. Type your name. Then we start the design. So Pomodoro timer. We are working with 25 minutes. Your time starts now. Okay. So 24:58. Don't forget to, I'll be going to each page, checking who is who. So I'll know when you are doing nonsense. For the font, you can use enter. Who won't come copy the time? We will use the monitor. Nigerians. For the font, for the typeface, use plus Jakarta.
Have you to use shape for the frame, or we pick auto frame?
The frame is normal frame now, iPhone 13 mini. So for the font, use
Okay.
plus. Somebody don't copy this plus Jakarta. Why every time? For the fonts, for the typeface, use plus Jakarta or enter. Okay, plus Jakarta or enter. Your time starts now.
Sir, Mr.
Yes.
Gotu,
Yes.
I have a question.
Now where I don't
Hello,
give you
can you hear me?
assignments, can you get question? Go ahead. People like Ojoro.
I'm really not clear on how to start, honestly. I mean, when I clicked the image, yes, and I tried applying auto frame, the image was out of shape.
Which image?
The rocket.
Waiting be your name.
I'm a
Damilari.
conqueror. No.
Conqueror, I can't see you on Figma. Where you dey?
I'm there now.
I can't see you. You are not here. Shebi, you dey see yourself for here. I
I
only
did see
have
myself.
Damilari. I have
I'm here.
Damilari. I have Funab. I have Rema.
I'm here. I can even see the timer. The timer is still reading, so I'm here.
Why are you adding the picture inside the frame? This picture is a reference. Use and design your own. Just imagine,
Yeah.
you carry the original design. Design.
No, you said we should copy the two now.
No.
Okay, this is it right now, and I don't know how to
I've
go
dropped
about
it
it.
for you. I just said use this as an asset. See what you are to design. You are to can't you see that it was used here? Get your frame now and start designing. You have not even gotten your frame. What do you want design?
Okay, I'll try. I'm coming.
Let me go and be checking people that have carried the original design. Eh?
Okay, it's not hard. I can do it.
Uh-huh. Okay. Who is designing here? Funum. Create your, you don't have a page. If you don't have a page, create your own page. Click on the plus sign, type in your name. Take this design to your own page. You are not to be designing here. Okay.
It's like
Okay.
someone has entered my page, yo.
Who entered your page like this? What is your own name?
Damilare. I think someone just touched it and I saw H something. I just want to take it back now.
Please maintain your own page, Nigerians. Eh?
So please, this plus sign, where is it?
Who is talking? Japheth. Japheth, see plus sign here.
Oh,
Here,
okay. Sorry, I've seen it. Thank you.
add new page.
Okay. Who's the design? Who's the design? Yeah. Who's command? No.
Remember, you work with time, so who is this?
Cannot be.
20, okay. We've already used 5 minutes. So you guys should well done. Let me see. Assuming we're on fake jams, I would have taken you guys. Yes, Liberty, you have missed a lot. Unfortunately. Anyway, you came early, so join us on Figma. Create your page if you don't already have a page. Create your page and start designing this stuff. Before you design nonsense, if you have questions, ask. Don't forget to leave the 50px at the top for the status bar.
What I did. Huh? You were stuck. Oh.
So if you have questions, don't forget to ask. Let me mute from here so that.
Let me tell you, how can I join this group, please? I'm not even of the group.
You said?
How can I join the group? I'm not even of the group. I cannot find any miracle on the.
How can you join the group? That
So like
question,
the design group, sir.
that question, don't ask me, ask God. You know that the group on WhatsApp, maybe the link was shared there.
I don't see it, sir.
If you can't see it, check the comments and see if you can still see that link. If the link is still there, good luck. If the link is not there, go back to the WhatsApp group and then scroll up where you see it.
That will take this, sir. Okay, thank you, sir. I'll put the link.
Okay, mention it. $15.
Please, that cancel sign at the top before get started. How do we get
Yes.
that icon?
You can use material icon, or you can use bootstrap icon, or you can use any icon pack, but just go
We
and
get
search.
that one.
Yeah,
Is this
just go
under
to,
plugins?
yes, so just go to plugins, search for, okay, use bootstrap icon. Go to plugins, search for bootstrap icon, then
Okay.
just type in X, you should see it.
Okay.
Oh, okay. I'm even trying.
But make sure it's 24 by 24 px. The size 24 by 24. Who is on my page? Who be my page be this? Who is this on this playground? Who they here? So Dr. Mrex, copy these two screens, go to your page and paste it and start designing. Copy this picture and these graphics. Second, copy the picture and the graphics, go to your own page. If you don't have a page, click on the plus sign to add your page.
Please, I'm trying to bring out that plus sign. I don't know. Am I going to click and drag? I've tried this. It's not coming out from
Which plus?
that X. I'm trying. I don't know how to even try to right click and copy. It's not. How do I bring it out from that section? Okay. I've seen it.
You have seen it. Hope you notice your button. It's not inside your iPhone 13. Why did you convert this iPhone 13 to. What are you doing like this? Damilare. Why is the iPhone 13? Why is your page an auto frame?
No, I didn't put it on auto frame.
No be your design be this, Damilare.
Yes.
Is this not your design? No be your design be this.
Yes, it is.
Come to Google Meet.
I'm there.
Is this not an auto frame? No be auto frame be this. And you have two
Eh,
rectangles inside where I don't know where they are coming from and where they are going.
Well, I want to. You said we should.
Get a frame, iPhone 13 mini, and do your design inside them.
And I just showed the grid just to set the alignment. Okay.
That means you're actually not following the tutorial on Spendy on the listing. If you are still having issue, if you don't know how to set up your page. Who is it? Who else? Rema. Okay. Okay. Rema, well done. Rema, for the status bar, use 50. That use 50 instead of 94. Okay. Some of you time don't they go finish. Oh, I never even do one. That's how we go. They go. Patience Beatrice. Okay, patience. You're just starting. Patience, you copy my Pomodoro timer. Join. Hmm. Okay, you're on playground. Patience, copy these two elements. Okay, copy the picture and the graphics. Then take it to your page and you start your design. No copy the Pomodoro timer. Just copy the picture and the graphics. Then go to your page and start designing. If you don't have a page, click on the plus sign to add a new page and type in your name. Anyway, 10 minutes to go. 25 minutes was enough time for you guys to be able to finish this. Please, if you have questions, make sure you unmute and ask. Godwin, welcome. Join us on Figma. Duplicate the screen, duplicate this image and this graphics, then redesign. Six minutes more. Yes, Godwin.
Mr. Goswill, yeah, I have something to say. Oh.
Okay, say.
Yeah. Are you going to redesign this with for us?
Now the design my assignment what I give you for us.
No, now like probably to show us where we missed it, got it wrong, and all of that.
What you want get on for you? Download, copy this, select this,
Sir,
select this, copy, go to your page, start designing. If you have question, you ask. Moreover, the Pomodoro timer now 4 minutes remain. Yes, Godwin.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah,
I'm
evening.
on my way. Oh, I sorry I came late, sir. Please.
Okay.
I don't know whether I can be pardoned. Oh.
Now the time
And
go pardon you. It's just 20 minutes more.
sir, and I don't know whether it can be put in my page when I get home. I'll do it. Or tomorrow morning,
But
sir.
Shebi, you have access to this file now.
No, I'm not with my system. I'm just watching from my phone.
Yeah, but you have access to the file.
Yes.
Once you're on your system, come to this playground. Let me also put it admin. Okay, come to playground admin. Copy these two things here. Go to your page and redesign it.
Okay, sir.
Mhm.
And sir, please, I need the whole class. I hope the recording class will be dropped on the group chat.
Yeah, it should be dropped.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. I'm trying to add admin user. Let me use user instead. It's not visible. Okay. So you come to playground, you copy this, and then you make your design. Okay, so we have two minutes more. Let me check on some people. Okay. Dr. Mrex, there is no shadow on the text. Mhm. You want light up every shadow. You won't be there is no shadow. You won't light up. Also, the font is a little bit too thick compared to the original one. So always make sure you're paying attention to details. And work on the alignment. The alignment is also very important. I can also see that you've used size 20. Why people looking for my problem? Dr. Mrex, unmute your mic on Google Meet.
Yes, sir. Yeah, yes, sir. I'm seeing it.
Now you be Dauda Mrex.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm doing that, sir.
Have you been taking the classes on the platform?
Yes, sir.
Where you there? On the Spendy app.
Chef, stop.
Eh?
Sir?
Where you there?
Sir, I'm here. I'm here. Oh.
Is this how we've been designing button? What type of button are you designing like this? Do we draw rectangle and then type on top to design button?
I'm sorry, sir.
Okay.
Sir, although this is my first. Hello, sir.
It's not about being first. Have you been working on the Spendy app? Have you designed the button components? Have you done that
No,
class?
I haven't. No, sir.
You want to come and give me a headache? All this class. See, the thing about these live classes, you just can't leave everything and attend live classes. You will not understand anything. If you've not even done the button class and you are here, you will just be doing, I don't know, you will not do things well because every step is like an advancement based on what you've been learning. So please, if you are here, you are not watching those videos, make sure you are watching them. This is not a Friday class that, you know. So if you still don't know how to design button, this is 2 weeks into your class. If you still don't know how to design button on Figma the right way, then you have to go and watch those tutorials. That means you also didn't attend last week's class, because last week we even handled it. Sakim Manasseh. Is this how to design button? People are not watching those videos. So. This is not how to design button. Okay. Okay, well done. At least we have one person that is on course. Rema is on course. Rema Destiny Beatrice is the only one on course. Our Pomodoro timer, let me go back and check. Oh, time don't go, Seth. Okay. 2 minutes to go. Okay, so if you have, you can complete this exercise later, but it's always good if you are able to work within the stipulated timeline, because that's how you learn. So we'll see again on Friday. Like I said, if you have not been watching the tutorials or following through, all these live classes we are doing is like a summary of what you've done over the week, right? And then you get to learn something new. So if you've not been following the videos, go ahead. If you're not following the videos, there's no way you learn this thing just by attending Friday classes. It is not going to work. It is not going to work. Okay. So any question for those of you that were designing? Did you notice any issue? Did you run into? Yes, ask your question so you can round up. That's not have any. Yes.
My question is for this for the tax this we couldn't find the workspace. I don't know
I
that is line up
can,
there. Is it?
you mean the line?
Yes, yeah, the line. This particular line in the own. Is
Okay.
it just straight line? Just put the it was the auto frame just cancel the left and the strokes left down and like the side and left the up one and leave it some padding.
If you're using the stroke should also work. That's fine. But I actually drew a line. But if you're using a stroke, just add enough top padding so that it can give you enough spacing. Okay? Just add enough padding. Yes. So the padding should be 24. 24. So the padding should be 24 on the top. And yes, so you can make it 1 instead of 0.5. The color is also 50%. Okay. Okay, not 50. Try 20, 25 or 15 for the color.
This 25 was different.
Okay. No, not the text itself. That line, that outline.
Okay.
And you were only using soft grid. We used, instead of 16, we used 24. We used 24 for the margin.
Okay.
Yes, 24. Okay, so easy way to always get, if you see a design and you don't know the margin they used, you can just zoom into the design, okay? Just draw a box. In this case, we can see the rectangle is the longest one. So just draw a box, hold down shift, or it's a box. I don't know why I picked circle, but you can see it's 24, which is 25, which is telling you that it's 24 because you can see this thing entered in a little bit. So 24. Okay. So guys, make sure you are practicing, and as you are practicing, you are asking questions. You can see now Destiny will ask plenty questions. Now only him the practice, and that is why in this class practice, he has actually done well. So these things is by practice, so no be by I want to, I want to. It is by wanting to and also practicing. Okay. So well, try as much as possible to finalize. So Destiny,
Can
what
you
you are
check
so
my work too, sir?
yeah, so Destiny, just fix it, but increase the size, the width of the create workspace manually to get to the other edge, to the end of the grid. Yes, increase it manually to get to the end of the grid. So drag it from the angle and get, no, the button. Okay, that works as well. Okay, good. So who said I should check? Is it a Conqueror?
Hi, Damilari.
Yeah, Conqueror,
Damn,
Conqueror. Say you should check. Please check.
Damilare.
Check
Okay,
Conqueror
Damilare.
now.
I will check. Okay, I feel. Okay, Damilare, this is awesome. I like it. It's nice. Okay, so just the difference between the fonts, this thing, font size. Okay, so Damilare, I've noticed that you added this. You are ready to start blah 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 in an auto frame. So when it comes to a text like text bar, if that text is not going to have any other thing as beside it on, there's no need to auto frame. So all you
Okay.
needed to auto frame was that you are ready for launch, and this you are all ready to start. You are all ready to
Okay.
start. It's only these two that you are only going to auto frame. There's no need to put them in their own auto frame because there is no other element around them. But you can see that the ready for launch and that one is two elements. So you can auto frame those ones and control their spacing automatically, right?
Okay.
So take
Okay.
note of that. So take note of that. Let me see. Just like you can see, this we couldn't find at the bottom. There's no need to auto frame it on its own. It's only maybe if you want to auto frame it with the line so that you can control the spacing, but on its own, there's no need. Or maybe you want to auto frame it and use the auto frame to create your outline. So also this get started as well. There's no need to auto frame it. There is no need to auto frame it because it's just
Okay.
on its own. So take note of those things. Let me check. I am Conqueror. I am Conqueror. I am Conqueror. Okay. I am Conqueror. Why did you type you are? If one, I am Conqueror, you are not following the tutorial. Why did you type you are already blah blah on a line and then typed workspace for organization and that line? You can see that these two things, this this is a sentence. They are the same font style. The only thing you are typing separately is ready for launch. You type it separate. Then this you are already blah 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 is the same. Is the same text. You are not supposed to type them into different inside different
Okay, sir.
different
Okay, sir.
text tools. Yes.
Thank you, sir.
And your alignment, you have not even set up your grid. Set up your grid so that you can arrange things
I didn't
properly.
get that. I can't hear you.
Your alignment, you can see things are not properly centered. So
Okay.
set up your so you can center it properly. Please,
All right.
I'm pleading with you guys again. Make sure you watch the videos. If you are not following on the videos, there's no way you meet up with the Friday live classes because it's basically like a revision of what you've been doing over the week. And that is why most of you don't have questions because you've not watched the videos. Okay, guys, have a great weekend. Don't forget, you need to keep designing. Aside all these ones we are learning, if you see designs on Instagram, designs on Twitter, you can pick it up on your own and try recreating it. Now, it is in the process of recreating it that you are going to come across things that you just don't know how to do. Then you use that WhatsApp group to now ask questions. You can drop your questions as voice note. You can attach it to a screen. Let's assume you see a design on Instagram or Twitter or on the web, and you are trying to recreate it, but you don't know how to recreate it. You can just attach that picture to a voice note or a text and say, "How can I achieve something like this?" That is how you learn in this field. You don't just sit down and wishfully think and hope to become a designer. So, goodbye. See you guys next week. But if you have any questions, drop it right in the WhatsApp channel, and I'll be there. So I'll be ending the call now. But make sure you complete this design. Okay. So
Well, the question.